earlier happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. All of his co-workers were gone.
Welcome
what could
back.
It mean?
Get your first achievement.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Wait, what is that on the wall? Oh, get the bucket.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Try and get onto that part of the floor that is not at the very bottom. Remember we jumped down to the very bottom because there was a platform?
Yes.
We could go that way. We already did the real storyline, I think.
Yeah, try the platform thing.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Wait a minute. Look to your left. You see that?
Oh yeah, I forgot that. Oh, it's a toy.
I think you could drop down there to the left.
Go that way, I'm gonna end up.
I mean, you need the figurine, though. All figurines must be collected.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by one? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
I think Stanlerines. Oh, there's a vent you can go into. What? What? They're cassettes.
Narrator dialogue.
Oh, they're all narrator dialogues, I guess. I don't know. Not here. What's at the desk? You always want to look at everything before whatever you're supposed to look at. What?
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling.
This says something else.
And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it.
still haven't figured out why I see the world so
No.
differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
What the hell was that? Oh, okay.
That was neat.
Is there a cat? Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone.
Is the
What
bucket
could it
gonna be
mean?
there?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Gotta
Perhaps
get the
he had
bucket.
simply missed a memo. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Something's gonna come for this bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Wait, what?
Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to
Have we
do.
done
Stanley did not question why
Did we
or
do
how
everything the
this bucket was
bucket has
speaking
told
to
you to
him.
do so far?
It should have
Oh,
alarmed
that
him.
was early. Have you done
All of
everything
his
the bucket
co-workers
has
were
asked of
gone.
you?
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the
curious.
meeting room. Perhaps he had
Well,
simply
maybe
missed
after
a
you
memo.
jump down to the platform.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I
patient.
need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this
Patience,
bucket
it'll
was
move
speaking
over.
to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk.
No, wait.
But Stanley
It'll
chose
move
not to
over.
think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and
Oh,
he
go.
unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Danger, danger everywhere. Have you tried these doors? I mean,
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment. Now
Is
then,
this a
I'm going
bucket?
to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Are you not sure what to do?
Well, I'm wondering if you'll like say something about like,
Your hesitation?
yeah,
Can you go take it?
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket.
What?
Not an actual bucket. Item 2. Is this a
Well,
bucket?
I'm gonna say yes. It could be no, though.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual
Are
bucket.
none of these buckets? So far, it's 2 no's.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
It's gotta be a bucket.
Incorrect. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
I'm gonna say yes.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible. Let's just move on to the next one. Is this a bucket?
Say yes.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Yeah. You got it right? I don't know.
Item 6. Is this a bucket? Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
It is both a bucket and not a bucket.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
But no.
Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket, that makes it sound like I'm saying everything is a bucket, which of course is not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket? You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart.
He is a bucket.
I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go. What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing in the game was a bucket. My God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was good. Or do what the bucket tells
All of
you
his
to do.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
Go right.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the
When you get to the
employee
cargo
lounge
lift,
was
do
simply
what
the
the bucket
place to
tells
be.
you.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind.
I don't
The
think
bucket
you've
was
had the
wrong.
bucket and gone over the
Stanley
cargo
took the
lift.
door on his left to go
Yeah.
back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark
Wait,
room
wait.
over here.
Dark
Stanley
room.
once again obeyed blindly.
Do you see a dark room? I guess through there then. I don't know. Ah.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Won't let you press X or
It didn't prompt me. Other times.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
oh, it's the bucket.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Gotta find the bucket again. There it is.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me. Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
The beige pages. It's not the yellow pages.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Press A to relive the same day with me
Oh
over and
my
over.
God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Pick up the bucket.
Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Mood lighting. Hang of the bucket. What's on your desk? Or your nightstand, sorry. Oh, I just noticed the bucket and the jazz painting.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
What?
The narrator's clearly obsessed. He was obsessed in the last one.
That's a good time to take the break. Well, that was fun. Thanks for watching.